And this matter comes before the court today on an allegation that Ms. Fitzgerald violated the court's order of probation. As an initial matter, Ms. Hamel, why don't you lead us off?
Yes, Your Honor. Officer Raiz, Valles, representing the Michigan Department of Corrections.
And Mr. Gears, would you place your appearance on the record?
Thank you, Your Honor. Brent Gears on behalf of Ms. Fitzgerald.
Very good. And Ms. Fitzgerald, would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. And Ms. Fitzgerald, you understand the maximum penalty I could impose on the underlying charge of operating while intoxicated. Third offense would be 5 years in the Michigan Women's Prison.
Yes.
All right. And you also know that if you disagree that you violated my order of probation, that you're entitled to a hearing. I would conduct that either by Zoom like we're doing today, or you'd be entitled to request it be in person in the courtroom. And during that hearing, I would appoint a lawyer to represent you, and your lawyer could cross-examine any agent of the Department of Corrections Probation Department that testified, as well as any other law enforcement officers, and could also use the subpoena power to bring in witnesses who would be able to testify and tell your side of the story. You understand you have a right to a hearing regarding this violation.
I do.
Very good. Mr. Gears, what's your sense as to where we're going to go next in this matter?
Your Honor, I believe Ms. Fitzgerald would like to resolve this matter by entering pleas. I explained to her what the allegations are. They appear to be old, and I think the more relevant part is that there's some period of time since this initially came up till now that she has some additional jail credit for. I believe she's willing to admit that and go forward, hopefully with the recommendation of this court here to be done. So.
All right. Is that correct, Ms. Fitzgerald?
Yes, I would like to be done. But last time I pled guilty because they told me the same thing, and that didn't happen. So I just want to be careful what I say.
No, I understand, and you know, that's why I advise you that full 5 years in the Department of Corrections, because well, let's resolve that jail credit issue. I have 314 days here. Is that accurate?
No, there. Oh.
I was going to say, I did talk to Ms. Fitzgerald about that. There appears to be at least 7 additional days from 2023 in this most recent arrest. Is that correct, Ms. Fitzgerald? You've been currently there for 7 days.
Detained because I live in Newaygo County, so I get detained there and then wait for the ride.
And that was on this bench warrant.
Yes.
And you have no other time from April of 2023 until most recently.
Yes, I did 33 days last year.
On this offense?
Yes.
Okay.
Remember I told you how he told me I would get early release, and then that they didn't come get me for 33 days.
Okay.
And I asked them, and they said, yeah, no, they didn't. They came and got me the day that they were told to come get me.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I guess what you know, and it's fair enough to have a discussion about the penalty here before we go forward. And I do note, you know, the recommendation essentially would be, if I do sentence you to 365 days in jail with the credit that you have, even the credit that I have here on the PSI of 314, with the way that our jail calculates jail credit and good time, I think that would essentially result in your release and probation being revoked as unsuccessful.
Your Honor?
Yeah.
Per the probation violation report, which I did not write because I just got this case yesterday. But I have, including her current jail when she got transferred here today, I have 351.
Okay, yeah, no, even more so than 350.
And that does include the time from last year. That was the 34 days.
That sounds right.
I believe that's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Well, and then that puts an exclamation point on it that right, if I go with the recommendation, a full year in jail, then and give 351 credit, then you are done, that you'll be discharged from the jail because of the good time and this will be revoked. And my alternative here is to, is to impose a prison sentence, which, I gotta say, Mr. Fitzgerald, it's been a horrible, performance on probation. Essentially, you did nothing of what I ordered to be done. However, what else you didn't do is you didn't get picked up for another, drinking and driving offense, which is my main concern when I have a OUIL case on probation is, I don't want anyone to go out and drive and hurt someone else. Whatever else you screwed up, you didn't screw that part of it up. And I do believe in a case like this, and it has been a substantial length of time since you picked up the offense in 2022. We're more than 3 years out. I used to do 5 years back when I sentenced you with probation. However, the maximum probation period got shortened down to 3 years. So now my folks that are OUIL thirds only get 3 years, so that's kind of working in your benefit as well here. And you would stick with that recommendation at this point, Ms. Hamel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what I would go with then. If I can enter into a Cobb's agreement at this point with Mr. Gears and Ms. Fitzgerald that I would sentence per the recommendation to a year in the county jail with 351 credit and be done. And I can understand your hesitancy, Ms. Fitzgerald, because I had my alternative sentence down here as 2 to 5 in the Michigan Women's Prison, which would give you credit for the year you're done, but it would give you another year over in the east side of the state, which I'm sure is not what you're trying to accomplish here. So with that, are you willing to enter a guilty plea, Ms. Fitzgerald?
May I say something first?
You may.
First of all, I picked this charge up in 2020 and in an attempt to save somebody's life. My story has never been heard.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I
not
do
going to get
recall
into
the
that.
underlying.
I'm not going to get
Yes.
into that. But I would like to say that I have not drank since then, and I have not drove.
Mr. Fitzgerald, can we do the plea first, and then I'll be able to address that with your help as part of allocution. So
Yeah,
everything you're about
you
to
do get a
say.
chance before I impose
Yep.
the sentence, Ms. Fitzgerald, to
Yep.
to say your piece on this. So let's go through the requirements first, though. Ms. Fitzgerald, did anyone other than the stuff that I just talked about on the record, my assurance that I'm going to sentence with the recommendation here, has anyone promised you anything in exchange for your guilty plea today?
No,
Anyone threatened you to get you to take a guilty plea today?
no.
So your decision to plead guilty is your own choice.
Well, wait. No, I'm being told that I'm going to be set free from probation if I plead a guilty plea.
Correct, and I did state that on the record, so that is part of the
Okay.
agreement. There's no secret agreement or behind the scenes agreement that you're relying
Okay,
on.
because that
here.
has happened. So, okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I understand, and you are correct to want to, as us judges and lawyers say, you're way better off if you get stuff in writing or on the record. That's the way to keep things on the up and up. So, what you're pleading guilty to today is essentially a failure to appear since some date back in 2023 to probation. Is that accurate, Ms. Fitzgerald?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, then I'll accept the guilty plea. I find it's voluntary and supported by an accurate factual basis. We can go directly to the sentencing portion. Mr. Gears, anything by way of allocution?
Just briefly, Your Honor, I did have a chance to meet with Ms. Fitzgerald this morning. She relays several concerns to me about the case being handled by prior attorneys and that. But more importantly, she believes that her story wasn't fully told in the PSI report. I think her reflection is that the PSI report was completed without her participation, not due to her own fault. And so I believe she is prepared to allocute and let the court know a little bit more, an explanation of what's gone on in this case since then. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Fitzgerald.
All right, Ms. Fitzgerald, you may proceed.
Well, the case, I got picked up in 2020 trying to save my cousin's life because she was seizing. She lied to the cops and told them that I was high on meth trying to kill her. They got a warrant for my blood. There was not a single drug in my blood because I don't do drugs. And so right then and there, that already was her lying. But they didn't take that into consideration. And I have lost everything because of this charge. When I got to the hospital, my cousin didn't have her seatbelt on. She didn't break a single bone. They said they don't know how many times we rolled or how either one of us were still alive. I had my seatbelt on. I broke all my cervical spine. I crushed my sternum, my sacrum, and broke all the ribs on my left-hand side. I was a mess. Okay. My cousin pulled the steering wheel. She was mad because I wouldn't engage in an argument with her because she was in and out of seizing. It always resorts back to the same argument. Who got more Christmas presents when we were in 4th grade? Okay. At this time, we were in our 40s. I'm now in my 50s. I have lost my career. I have lost 4 cars, a home, my children, and my mother because of this charge. When I found I was trying to take this to trial so I could tell you my story, but my mother was sick, and Matt Berry came to the jail and told me that he talked to the prosecutor and that the prosecutor said that if I would not take this to trial and that I would plead no contest, that I could get out of jail with time served that day. So I agreed because my mother was sick and needed me. I went into the courtroom in front of you. I pled no contest. Matt Berry walked out the front door. I tried to talk to you. You said you need to ask your attorney. They took me back to jail. Nobody spoke to me for 2.5 months until my sentencing. My mother passed away 11 days before my sentencing. If I would have been given what I was told, my mother could very well be alive today. My 7-year-old little girl found her grandma dead on the floor. I have been through hell over this charge. My cousin had numerous times has tried to tell me that she's sorry, that she will do anything she can to help me. I have that in writing. Nobody's bothered to look at that. While I was in jail, 2 different times, the PSI scheduled 2.5-hour allotments for us to have our PSI. Instead of coming to the jail and doing it like all of the other people that were getting PSIs, mine was through video with this person. Okay. The first 2 minutes that I was on a video with her, I told her I want to exercise my constitutional right and have my attorney present. She got mad. She's like, you want me to, her exact words were, you mean you want me to reschedule this 2.5-hour appointment? And I said, no, yes, I would like to exercise my constitutional right. Then the screen went blank. Deputy Latre was the deputy on duty both times for both meetings that I had scheduled. There was technical difficulties. Nobody has bothered to check IC Solutions to see if the monitors were up that day. Nobody bothered to do that. They just assumed I was guilty. She wrote, Miss Norman wrote in my PSI that I made myself unavailable for an interview. How do you make yourself unavailable when you're in jail? I didn't make myself unavailable. There was a technical difficulty that she didn't bother doing her job and trying to find out. I have been through hell. I have been through hell with this charge. I don't drink anymore. I don't even have the compulsion to drink. I don't see my cousin anymore. And I was driving back in 2023, I was trying to get a job down in Gun Lake at the hotel with my friend, and I got the job. And then she was like, "You have to drive, but you can't hang out. You can't start today. You have to go home." And I didn't want to drive. She's like, "You have to go. You have to drive my car home." And I didn't have anywhere to go, and it was raining, so I did drive, and I did get caught because her car was so bad. And but nothing else happened. I was just trying to drive home from a job interview. And I haven't even driven since that day. So I don't drink, I don't drive. And I honestly did not do what the police report said that I did. That is all a lie. And it all should have been dropped at probable cause. And I've been through hell because of it. So I just hope that you take that into consideration. I've lost my career. I've lost my kids. I've lost my mother. I've lost everything I've owned. I have been through hell. And all I want to do is go out and rebuild my life.
Well, the thing that encourages me, and the one thing that encourages me about the whole story of this case, is what I said right at the outset, is that, what concerns me when a person has a charge like this is that, you're gonna drink and drive, at some point in the future, and everything you've been through, a lot of people would turn to it and say, boy, uh, I want to rebuild my life, but the way I'm going to do that is by going out and drinking again. How have you avoided not turning to drinking or drugs to deal with everything going on? Why not for you?
Honestly, I don't even sure how to answer that question because I have done my share of AA, and honestly, when I never told my agent that I wouldn't do outpatient because I've been willfully on my own will going to Arbor Circle for 18 years. Okay, I grew up in an abusive home from my mother, and I have had trouble my whole life. Okay, so I have been willfully going to Arbor Circle for 18 years. I enjoy Arbor Circle is my happy place until the day I went there and they told you that I was only there 20 minutes. The whole thing was that was not true. And I've been dealing with them with Lara, trying to get that person in trouble for not documenting what was true. However, but the one thing I do have to say, I have taken a lot out of AA. If I go to AA now, it makes me want to drink. I don't go. But I have learned a lot from AA. And the two things that I learned, um, well, the one thing that I learned is, well, people, places, things. And my cousin was definitely a people, place, and thing. Okay. And I didn't want her around me that day, but I got drawn into this situation. Okay. So that's one thing. The second thing is that if, I've always had a higher power, but somehow, and I can't even explain it to you because it is kind of like magic. I have no compulsion. I don't have a compulsion to drink. I don't want to drink. Like thinking about drinking makes me sick. And I think it's because of the trauma that I've been through in this case.
Well, that's a very, yeah, definitely. I mean, oddly, the way the law enforcement system, of course, is supposed to work by imposing, like you say, even though the consequences, at least to hear your side of the story were unfair and arbitrary, nonetheless, you recognize that, well, at the inception of it, it was because of this, at least perceived offense, and that's what got me here, and I don't want to do that again. Whatever it's working, Mr. Trill, my advice is, the fact that you stayed out of trouble, usually I get people in front of me because they got picked up again, sometimes for the same exact thing, and it's not the case with you. You've been under the radar, as it were, but to do that means you need to stay out of criminal trouble, and you've successfully done that, which says to me you can do it in the future. I don't think there's anything to be gained in your case, by additional imprisonment or probation time. So I realize you don't have the case doesn't sit well with you in terms of how it was started or resolved, but I can say, the reason I'm granting you termination of your probation at this time is because I don't deem that, where you sit today, based on your conduct, that you're a threat to other people out in the community. And that's my main job, up here, is to make sure the community's safe. I can't always explore all the nuances of every case. There simply isn't time to do it. But, you know, I'm always am interested in how people manage to make huge changes, and you have made significant changes in your life. I think that the lack of contact with the cousin who got you into trouble here, a very wise choice, and you've made a geographic change of location up to Newaygo County. And I guess my advice to you going forward is whatever you've been doing, keep doing it because it's working. And absolutely, I can say for you, the absolute worst thing that could happen in your life would be to pick up another OWI charge. It's one of the most common charges that I see in court, and I'm sure that that would be true for the judge up in Newaygo as well. And you just don't want another one because the way the system works is then that judge is going to say, well, she's had her time in jail, or the only thing to do is to send her to prison. And I can tell you, with everything you've been through, the only thing that would be worse would be a year of confinement in the Michigan Women's Prison. There you would find an even worse situation than anything you've dealt with over the last 3 years. So I guess my advice is, keep doing what you've been doing to stay sober. The sentence of the court will be 365 days with credit for 351 days served, and I will revoke probation at this time. So you're done with this case. you know, like I say, I understand it's been a horribly negative experience in your life, Miss Fitzgerald, but I do want you to take away the positives that, you know, whatever you've done on the flip side, it's kept you out of trouble and out of court and out of trouble with the law. Keep doing that, you know, and um, you know, build on those positive things that you have learned, like you said you're able to do with the AA experience. You know, you did a good job of taking away the positives from you know your time at AA meetings and things like that. So keep on building on those positives and stay out of trouble. And I wish you the best going forward. It is a final judgment today, so you can't appeal it, Ms. Fitzgerald. Your appeal would be by leave to the Michigan Court of Appeals. I will appoint a lawyer to represent you on appeal. And you know, I don't, you know, given all your negative experiences with the case, it may be something you want to pursue. They have green forms there at the jail. That's to ask me to appoint an appeals lawyer to review the case at no charge. If you do want to do that, you do need to fill out that green form and return it to me within the next 42 days, or I'd have to deny your request. And that's entirely your choice, Ms. Fitzgerald. If you want an attorney, they would review this, you know, lock, stock, and barrel. They may say, you know, because of the time elapsed, et cetera, and the deal resolved at the end, that there's nothing to appeal in a legal sense, but at least then you've got a legal opinion that says that. Going forward. So I wish you, you know, the best and that you're able to stay out of court and, you know, enjoy the positive things that still are present in your life, Ms. Fitzgerald.
Thank you.
Thank you.